Hey fourth graders, welcome back. We're working on 281 in your math journal. I gave you, this is an example of a pattern that would have four-way. Give this next one a try. It's a little trickier. They don't really give me any examples for these. But give it a try and then I'll go over them with you. You could, hypothetically, do like a T would work, because even if you folded this over, folded it on there, this would be cut in half, this block would go up there. Another option would be to do the middle here, because if you did that, actually that wouldn't work because then this would come down here, so you can't do that one. Basically, you have to have this one, I believe, would work though. Four corners, that would work. Just the middle would work, like that. And for that matter, doing the whole thing would work. If you wanted to have just two, this is an area that I'm not super great at, but I'll do my best on this. So if I was going to have two ways that this could work, I might just go like that, because I would have line symmetry going that way. I guess you could make that one too. And if you went that way, you'd have that. So another option would be to do the opposite of that and go in a different direction there. To have no line symmetry, you just got to kind of do something random. There's no way that that's going to have any symmetry to it. So if you just do something random, that'll work. Moving on, we're going to look at solving multi-step number stories. This is on page 282 in your math journal. And we won't do all of these today. I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. Hopefully you'll be able to see it, fit it all on. 8 baseball teams are participating in a tournament. Each team is bringing 18 players and 2 family members per player. All are traveling in vans with 7 people per van. How many vans are needed to transport all of the players and their families? Okay, so when you're doing this, there's a lot to dissect here. If there are 18 players and they're bringing 2 family members, that means that there are 18 groups and each group is bringing how many people? Now, some people think, well, it's 2 because we have a 2 there. But it's actually a 3 because there's 1 player and 2 family members per family. So that's like 18 times 3. It'd be like you going to play in a game somewhere or do some sport and your mom and dad coming. You plus your mom and dad makes 3. And then there's going to be 8 teams. So it's 18 times 3 times 8, which is a lot. I'll admit that. We'll put that in parentheses. And after we're done with that, they're all traveling in vans that can carry 7 people. So we have to divide by 7. And that's going to tell us P for people. So a lot of work to do here. And when you're doing this, that's why we put the parentheses. You do the innermost parentheses first. So we're going to do 18 times 3. So I come over here, 18 times 3. 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 8 is 24. And then we'd add that together. 4 and 0 is 4. 3 and 2 is 5. We have 54 people per team. We need to take that now. We've got to remember that 54. And we're going to multiply that by 8. 54 times 8. So you're going to do 8 times 50, 8 times 4. Why don't you solve that and then hit play and you can see if you did it right. So doing 8 times 50, there's going to be a 0 there. 8 times 5 is 40. And 8 times 4 is 32 because 8 times 2 is 16. Double that is 32. Add that together. 0 and 2 is 2. 0 and 3 is 3 and 4. So we have 432 total people. But what we need to do after that is we need to divide. I know we're not doing the estimate. I don't really want to do the estimates. We're going to do 432 divided by 7. So what we're looking at here is what times 7 can get me close to 42. And you may not know that. You might want to start with a 5. But I want you to take your time and solve. Try and do 432 divided by 7. And then you can check your answer off of what I do. Go ahead and pause me. So here's what I know. I know that 7 times 6 is 42. I'm going to put a 0 there and a 0 there, and I'm going to subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. So now I'm looking at what times 7 gets me close to 12 without going over. Just 1. 7 times 1 is 7, and I subtract. 12 minus 7 is 5. Okay, so my answer here would be 61 remainder 5. But I have to decide what to do with that extra van. This means that if I take 61 vans, 5 kids or 5 people don't get to get in the van. There's going to be 5 people left over. So this is one of those situations where you need to round up. And instead of having 61 vans with a remainder of 5 people, we need to take 62 vans. That 62nd van, here's your van, and you can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are your spots. You have only 5 people in there. You can fit 2 more, but you need that 62nd van, or those 5 people don't get to go. Moving on to problem 2. A team raised $200 to pay for their family's tickets to watch the games. The tickets are $6 per adult and $4 per child. If each of the 18 players brings 1 adult and 1 child, how much money will Team A have left over? So, on this one, there are 18 kids, and they each brought an adult. So that's 18 times 6. And we're going to need to add that to the 18 kids that they brought with, or siblings, or children, I guess, it's not child. 18 times 4. And that's going to tell you how much money it costs for them. But the question is, how much will they have left over? So what you need to do after that is take 200 and subtract that amount. So that will equal M for money. Now there's other ways to do this, but this is probably the easiest way for you to do that. Actually, it's probably not the easiest way to do that. There's an easier way to do that, and I'm going to show you that right now. But that's one way you could do it. Another way you could do it, we know we got to figure out how much is left from the 200. Well, if it costs $6 per an adult and $4 for a child, there's 18 total people there. And an adult plus a child is how much, if I'm walking in with my daughter and it's $6 for me and $4 for her, how much money would I need? $10. So you could just do 18 times 10. And that will also equal your money. So go ahead and start with that. You do what's in parentheses first. Do 18 times 10, then take 200 and subtract that. Okay, 18 times 10 is super easy. 8 times, I can't talk. You put your 0 down. 1 times 18 is 18, so it's $180. 200 minus 180. Cross that out, make that 10, make that 9, make that 10. And actually, we don't need to do that. This would just be, I messed up. I'm sorry. We've got 200 minus 180. 0 minus 0 is 0. Cross that out, make it a 1, make that 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. So you'd end up with $20 left over. All right, we are going to look at one more before we go to what I want you to do for math boxes today. Problem 3. The teams wanted to raise $2,500 to pay for new equipment for next year. They have 12 boxes of souvenir programs with 35 programs in each box. Each program sells for $7. If all the programs are sold, how much money will the teams have left over after paying for the new equipment? Okay, so they want your number model with unknown down here. And that would be, you have 12 boxes with 35 programs in each box, and they're each going to sell for $7. Okay? So what you have to decide here is, how do you want to do this? It's going to be challenging any way you slice it because, and we need our unknown here. So our unknown is, you can be M for money. It's going to be hard no matter how you slice it. But I think what I would do is I would do 35 times 7 first, because 12s aren't actually that bad, and I'll explain. But I think the first thing I would do is 35 times 7. So go ahead and solve 35 times 7. Okay, so 7 times 30, you're going to put a 0 down. 7 times 3 is 21. And 7 times 5 is 35. So when you add that together, 0 and 5 is, I'm going to write it over here, 0 and 5 is 5, 1 and 3 is 4, and then you'd have your 2. So they have 245. And that was when we did 35 times 7. Now we have to do 245 times 12, which isn't exactly easy, but 245 times 12. And the nice thing about this is, I'm going to show you a little different thought on this. What if we did 245 times 10 and 245 times 2? If you do it this way, you can just put your 0 from the 10. And now I think about this as 245 times 1, which is just 245. And over here, it's just doubling this. It's essentially like adding. 10, carry that. 4 and 4 is 8, 9, 490. Now we can add those together. 0 and 0 is 0. 5 and 9 is 14, carry that 10. 4 and 4 is 8, 1 more is 9, and $2,940. But the question is, how much are they going to have left? Which we forgot a step here. We have to do all of this, and then take, oh, that's my fault. It would be 2,000, this, I'm messing this up. I'm messing you guys up, and I apologize. Minus 2,500 equals n. So I'm a little off here. So to actually figure this out, we would take 2,940 and subtract 2,500. 0 minus 0 is 0, 4 minus 0 is 4, 9 minus 5 is 4, and you'd end up with $440 left over. I know that's a lot of work, and we were working through that kind of fast, but you can always pause me and keep working on it. I want to go over your math boxes for today. Okay, so yesterday I asked you to just do parts of these. Yesterday you did A, so today I need you to do B. Then you're going to do C and D on here. Basically, I want you to finish anything that you didn't finish yesterday. Down here, also doing B and C, or excuse me, C and D on number 3. And the last one, for box 6, you need to do letter A. Alright guys, so basically finish anything that you didn't get done in your math boxes. Have a great one.